this video, we're going to be talking about structs or structures. So let's open up our IDE. I'm going to be using Golang. Now I've already created a project folder. It's called structs in Go. I've already created my main.go file, and I've already added my package main and func main so the Go compiler knows that this is going to be an executable file. And we're just going to be printing some data out here in the terminal. So what is a struct or a structure? A struct is a collection of fields. Those fields can be different data types and even other structs. Using structs, we're essentially creating our own brand new data type. Let's take a look. To create a struct, I'm going to put it right here at our package level. To create a new struct, we can use type, the name of our struct. My struct is going to be a person, so I'm going to be creating a collection of fields that describe a person. So I'm going to use person, and then we just have to put the word struct. Now, our collection of fields go inside of these curly braces right here. By using the word type, giving it a name person, and then we're defining that it's going to be a struct. I want my collection of fields to represent a person. So let's start with a first for first name, and this is going to be of type string. Then we'll do last for last name, and that'll also be of type string. Then let's do an email, we'll do of type string, and let's just do a phone or a phone number, and that'll be of type int. So now I have this struct. We gave it a name of person. I have a first, a last, an email, and a phone. Let's see how we can use this in our Go program. So I'm going to jump down here into my func main. Let's go ahead and use this struct. I'm going to create a new variable, and I'm going to call it employee. And I'm going to use the short assignment operator. And I want this employee variable to be a person struct. The way we can do that is by using the word person to define that this is going to be the person struct, and then our curly braces again. Now we can list out the details of this specific employee using the collection of fields defined in our person struct. So I'll say first, and then a colon, and then this is a string. So my first name is going to be, we'll use Joe. Then we'll do a comma. We'll do last, and then this is also a string. So we'll use the double quotes, and we'll put Smith inside of our double quotes. We'll do another comma, and this next one is email, colon. Again, it's a string, so we'll use our double quotes, and we'll just do joe@smith.com. And our last one is phone, so we don't need our double quotes because this is going to be an integer. We'll just use 555 333 1234. Okay, so we've just defined this employee variable that holds a person struct. We're getting this little squiggly here for employee because we haven't used our variable yet. And we're also getting this little squiggly here because we need a trailing comma before we start a new line. So we can put a comma here, or we could pull our curly bracket up and put it on this line. Either way should work. I'm going to go ahead and use the comma. Now that we've created a variable called employee, let's go ahead and print this out and see what it looks like down here on our terminal. So let's use fmt println. If you're not using the Golang IDE, make sure you import the fmt package up here. Let's just go ahead and print out our employee. So we'll use go run main.go. So we were able to print out our struct with our first name of Joe, our last name of Smith, our email, and then our phone number. All right. Now let's say, for instance, we wanted to change Joe Smith's phone number. We could jump down here and we could say employee, use a dot, and then phone equals, and then assign a new phone number. We'll do 555-111-2345. So we've just assigned a new phone number to our employee right here. Let's go ahead and print this out again. And we're hoping to see a new phone number, and we do. So we've just printed out our employee again, Joe Smith, joe@smith.com, and now we can see we have our new phone number. So if we want to change a specific field in our variable employee containing a person struct, we can just use our variable name, a period, and then whatever field we'd like to reassign. In this case, we set the phone number equal to a new phone number. Occasionally, you'll want to print or view the information inside of your struct. And we can do that the same way that we assigned this employee phone number. So if I wanted to print out or access just the employee last name, I could say employee period last. So now instead of printing out all the data fields of our employee, we're just going to print out the last name. Let's give this a try. Cool. So we were able to print out just our employee's last name by using employee period and then the data field that we would like to see. So this is one way to use our struct, and we would refer to this as name syntax because we're actually supplying the name of each field. We're actually saying first, last, email, and phone. I think this reads pretty cleanly and it's very obvious what each field in our employee variable represents. However, we don't actually have to supply the name of each field as long as we put it in the same order as our person struct is up here. So I should be able to get rid of our first, last, email, and phone. And this should still work. What you're seeing right here is my Golang IDE giving me hints as to what each field should represent, but I haven't actually specified a first, a last. I would have to type first, and then you can see it changes my text. So this is actually the IDE providing this information for me. It's not part of the code. Let's go ahead and run this again. I'm going to get rid of the last down here, and let's see if we're able to print out all the information in our employee struct variable. Cool. Let's go ahead and let's just do employee first. All right, so we have two options now. If we want, we can use the name syntax and supply first colon and then a value, last colon and then a value, and we would refer to that as the name syntax, or we can just leave those off. As long as we supply our data fields in order, we don't have to specify first, last, email, and phone. There's also another option when we're listing out our struct. Similarly, when we're passing arguments into a function, if we list out fields of the same data type, we can list them all on the same line. So I can get rid of the first string and see I'm not getting any errors right now. I can also bring email up to this line as well. So because first, last, and email are all of type string, I can list those all out together and then just put the data type at the end. Let's try this again and make sure we haven't broken anything. Cool, so we're still able to print out Joe. Let's print out our entire employee. Cool, so everything's still working. Now earlier I said we can have nested structs inside of other structs. So let's give our person an address. If we come down here, I'm going to go ahead and do type address, and it's going to be a struct. Let's give it some curly braces. And for this, I'm just going to do city, comma, state, and they're both going to be of type string. Cool. So now we have an address struct, and it has a collection of fields, city and state, both of type string. Now we can jump up here and say, let's give this person an address, and it's going to be of type address because we've just created this data type or struct, which is an address. So we can use a capital A and then address. So now this person has a field address and it's a data type of address. Now we're getting these squigglies down here because we've just changed our person struct and we're not supplying our employee the correct information anymore. We have to let it know what this address is now. So let's go ahead and fix our employee variable with this person struct inside. Now we're going to use a capital A for our address, and then we can do our curly braces. And now inside, as long as we list them in order, so the first one is going to be city. I'm going to use Trenton because I'm in New Jersey. And for state, I'm going to supply NJ. Now my squigglies went away because my employee person struct has all the required information now that we've supplied this address. Once we added our address, we had to supply it down here. So let's go ahead. We still have our FMT, println, and our employee. So let's print out our employee again. Cool. So now we have our first, last, email, our phone number. We've changed it right here. And now we're including our address. So if we wanted to just print, let's say, maybe we just want to see the address and the state. We should be able to do dot address and then dot state. Let's see if we just print out the state down here. Cool. So now we have two structs we've created. One is called person, one is called address, and our person struct actually uses the address struct that we've created. That's pretty cool. So we can create as many structs as we want, and we can nest them within each other when it makes sense, and then we can access our nested structs using this dot notation. So we're accessing our employee variable, and then we use the dot, and we're going down into this person struct, and we're saying, give me the address field, and then we're using the dot again, and we're saying, give me the state within the address struct. That's pretty cool. I think that's a good stopping point for structs, but if you want to give yourself a little challenge, maybe create a struct called vehicle. Maybe we want to know what the year, make, and model is. So go ahead, create a new struct. Maybe you call it vehicle, maybe you call it car, and that's going to contain some fields of the year, make, model, maybe the color, or any other specific information about that vehicle, and then apply it to our person struct and give it some data. I think that would be a pretty good exercise to try creating your own struct and then applying it down here in the employee. So if you haven't already, go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you get notifications for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.